Today we're going to work at creating a more in-depth world setting using this Deck of Worlds deck with multiple locations. Here's the box. I'm going to slide that out of the way. And so in Deck of Worlds, you start with a region card, and we got Valley. So gonna put our Valley over there. And next you use a landmark card. And so you can either put City or Fountain with your Valley. So you want the city to be, or the Valley to be in a city, or for a fountain to be in the Valley. Since we're doing a kind of a world setting, let's go City. The next card you draw is a namesake card. And so we have Of the Moon, Hissing, Without Fear, or Of Guardians. And so I think, since we're having a city, let's do Valley of the Moon. I'm going to move City over to the right. So we've got a city in the Valley of the Moon. Next card you draw is always an origin card. So was once home to a mythical creature, created despite being forbidden, drained of all magical power, and last known location of a legendary gem. And so for this city, or this Valley of the Moon, let's go with drained of all magical power. So maybe this valley once had magical power in it, and then because the city has been here, they've used up all the magical power, and so there's no magic left. The next card you draw is an attribute card, and so we get religiously diverse, carnivorous plants, seasonal flooding, or known for street food. Not a big fan of any of these, but let's go with religiously diverse. It is a city in the Valley of the Moon that had magical power, so maybe people thought that gods walked the earth, or people used magic to have miracles and things like that. The last card you draw is an advent card, and this one has either mysterious sounds are being heard at night, such as screaming, digging, or singing, or a populist leader is gaining power through dangerous rhetoric, resulting in civil conflict, fear of outsiders, or indoctrination. And I kind of like this populist leader. I actually laid this one out wrong. I was going to do religiously diverse, and we're going to say a populist leader is taking control. So at the end of this little micro setting, we have the Valley of the Moon, which has a city inside it that is religiously diverse and has a populist leader trying to take control. So that's pretty interesting for our first one. Let's do a second setting. So for this region, we've got fields. So maybe in the valley there are some fields. Put that up there. And then the attribute card, or sorry, the landmark card is a village or a road. So we have a valley and we have a city. And so I'm going to say that this valley also has fields that have a road going through it. I may change this in a minute. But for now, let's do that. Next up is a namesake. So it's at the bottom of Wings, of Answers, or of Bleak. So I don't know if Bleak Fields or Bleak Road, or a road at the bottom of the fields. I'm going to draw another namesake card because that one's not resonating with what we have so far. So this one is of Truth, Narrow, That Creaks, or of Ghosts. So narrow kind of works. We're in a valley, so maybe there's some narrow fields or a narrow road. Or of Truth, it's Valley of the Moon. It's religiously diverse. Maybe in this field, you have to walk the road of truth for some purpose. So let's put that right there. Next up is the origin card. So it's built to commemorate a victory, origin of a holy order, that would work. Pet project of a petty god would also work, or site of the world's oldest tavern. And this is from the fantasy set too, which is kind of neat, that little dragon. Let's go with origin of a holy order. So it's kind of sounding like this road of truth in this valley is something you walk for a religious order to start. Next up is an attribute. Signature weapon, unusual rail transport, annual magic phenomenon, or it's known for butterflies. So I think either butterflies or magical phenomenon go with what we've got going here. I'm gonna say this valley, these fields have an annual magical phenomenon. And so perhaps you walk this road at a certain point in time, and because it's the road of truth, during this magical phenomenon, it started a holy order. Last up is an advent card, and we have entire season's harvest could be wiped out because of pest weather, sabotage, and the sewers are overflowing. So I think we're going to put the entire season's harvest could be wiped out under field, because on the other card we do have a populist leader is gaining power through dangerous rhetoric, and so maybe his dangerous rhetoric is pushing people towards this road of truth, and they're trampling outside of the actual road and into the fields, and that's causing the harvest could be lost, which could cause a problem for the city. So let's do a final one. Seems to be going well. Let's do one more. All right. Region card. Rainforest, valley, fields. Let's do another. We have a marsh. So in this valley, there could be a marsh as well. That works. Give us a little more room here. So we've got a marsh. Next up, we have a landmark, and we can either have a castle or a market. This is a tough one. So the valley has fields in it, and there's also a marsh. And remember, this is kind of a micro setting, so all kind of together. We already have our city. Should we have a castle or a market? Let's start with a castle. Let's start with a castle and see where we go. We may end up changing that. Our namesake of towers, of shade, windy, or where nothing grows. A marsh of shade, a marsh where nothing grows, a castle of shade, a windy marsh. We can do a windy marsh. It's in the valley, so maybe the wind is kind of channeled through things, or like through maybe the entrance to the valley or down off of the mountains, something like that. So we did namesake. So now we move over to origin, and we get a site of a famous siege created through a prophecy, was once a sacred druidic site, or shaped by mages. Actually, all of these kind of work for our Valley of the Moon, drained of all magical power. So prophecy would work, sacred druidic site would be cool. And remember, our city's religiously diverse, so we've kind of got this sacred order. Sacred order over here, and druidic site could give us a second one, or it could also be shaped by mages. So maybe this windy marsh has been shaped by mages, because maybe they were defending their castle. Maybe it wasn't always a marsh. Maybe it was something different at one time. And so we get that. Now, for our attribute card, it's a high crime rate, strict silence expected at all times, source of a rare fruit, site of nature worship. So if we had done druidic significance here, that would have been good. High crime rate, source of rare fruit, strict silence. So actually I'm going to go back to our marsh, and we're going to put, was once a druidic sacred site. And if it's kind of hard, should it be the marsh or should it be the castle that was a druidic site? But we'll go with marsh. And so this castle can now be the site of some nature worship because of those druids. All right, so our last one here. Advent card. An apex predator's hunting range is shifting in significant ways. Controversial law is being hotly debated. So maybe the law of this marsh, and maybe it should have been an area of silence, right? Because then that could be the law that was being debated. Well, let's put this over on this side. And so this gives us a windy marsh where there was a druidic site there, and now there's a castle where there's a site, which is a site of nature worship. And there's a controversial law being debated. And so in this, let's go with this valley as the overarching area. It has this city, the Valley of the Moon, which has been drained of all magical powers, has this city that is religiously diverse. It's got some druids, it's got these road holy order people in it, and there's a new leader that's come in because there's no more magical power, and he's gaining power through some dangerous rhetoric. And one of them is that this druidic site maybe should be protected or isn't actually a site of worship, and so maybe this marshland should be drained and turned into more farmland for the valley. And maybe the druids in the castle here are protesting and don't want to give up the area. There's also a field that has this road of truth, where there's the origin of a holy order through this magical phenomenon that the entire harvest is being disrupted because maybe more people are trying to figure out why the magical phenomenon isn't happening, and so they're searching for truth, and they're ruining the fields. So that gives you an idea of kind of how you could build a larger setting for Warhammer, role-playing games, whatever you'd like.